Just wow. Oh my goodness. This JPEG thing is just crazy. It is absolutely madness what's going on with NFTs. Did we hope for this? Of course we did. Did we think it was going to happen? Yeah, we thought it was going to happen. We hoped for it to happen, but it's happening. It's happening almost exactly as we had hoped when alt season ended, JPEG season began, almost like a fluid transition of opportunity from one door to the next. And right now, we're going to be doing our best to go through these insane projects that people are making wild gains on, how this whole thing is working, where we see the market going over the short term. Of course, some mega big disclaimers and warnings about how ultimately risky this stuff is, and really just some general thought processes on how to deal with the market right now. So today, I think, is going to be extremely valuable. It's going to be a deep dive, one of the most important deep dives on NFTs that we've done, searching for data, for trends, for analyses that can help us get ahead and understand this market. And also, of course, we're in peak season, baby. It is crazy. So if you guys are excited for this, if you are understanding how important these moments are in the history of NFTs, then destroy that like button. If you like the video, like this video, and we can share this content with more and more viewers. NFTs, the secret sauce of NFTs is that they appeal to more audiences than DeFi, to more audiences than layer one tech, than even crypto. And we're going to go through exactly why we think this and why this is such a big opportunity. But more importantly, we need to get the word out. We need to educate. And it starts with just, if you're watching this video and you like the video, please just hit that like button. And that's all you have to do to support the channel and keep the music going. Shout out to everyone in the audience. I see some people putting in some really nice things into the comment section. So shout out to all of you. I'm actually going to hop into the YouTube view right now. Shout out to everybody. Yep, I see a lot of projects. Elio for mayor of JPEG Town. I'll take it. The reality is, someone says, Elio, get the 1080p, please. Oh, where is it? Gosh, the chat is rolling. Get that sweet 1080p. So I want to say before I dive in, like, you guys rock. It's super hard to go through market collapses like we've seen, to have all of the FUD, the Fed FUD, the other FUD, and you're still here and rocking. And I've been through it. And every time I push through those moments, not every time, sometimes it was a really long time, like in 2018 and 19. But, you know, it's really rewarding to find another good moment in the market after getting hit with a bad moment. And just hopefully you learn and evolve, manage your risk, protect yourself, and just get better at the game, because there's more and more round. As you see, there's a new round of the game loading every single few weeks, it feels like. So if you're still here and putting in the work to learn and grow, then you are the heart and soul of this current movement. And I salute you. So thank you. Make sure that if you want to enter to win, we have this giveaway going on here. Make sure that you retweet here if you want to win a JPEG worth $1,000. I'm really excited to keep giving back to you all. As you can see, there is literally an infinite amount of tabs going on up here. So if you guys are excited about covering JPEG land season and all these movements, destroy that like button and let's share this around. Let's get the people in here. It was 1,500 of you. 1,000 of you have not liked the video. Very sad for me to see. Very sad. Very sad. But there's so much to be excited about. So let's dive in here. First of all, this is crazy. This is crazy. The reality is that these numbers that we're seeing for NFTs are absolutely crazy. If we see that OpenSea has done over $4 billion in volume this month, OpenSea in January, I guess now it's February. It is February 1. Yes, it is. So last month, OpenSea did over $4 billion. As you can see, this is a bullish engulfing candle. If you guys are traders, you'll know what that means. This is a bullish engulfing candle here, showing that the NFT volume is back. We see that it bottomed here in November, made a little bit of a comeback in December, and then exploded in January. And we're going to talk a lot about the conditions that make for a ripe NFT market, which many of you probably already know, which is very highly mega correlated to Ethereum gas fees and the price of Ethereum, or the FOMO from altcoins, right? When there's mega FOMO from altcoins, it tends to wreck the NFT ecosystem, especially, but also high gas fees. Now, that said, this is something not to ignore. And I like this comment here by keepfishing.eth. Update. These numbers are staggering. I'm not sure if it's an inflection point or if it's the top or a bubble or what. There's no question January has been unprecedented in the NFT world. Let's do even better next month. What we're seeing here, you could say it's a bubble, but we had January and February. Remember the February candle of 2021? Everyone was like, this is a bubble. This is unsustainable. And it did crash. But then we got the May wave and the June wave, and then it crashed. And then we got the September and October wave, and then it crashed. And then we're getting this wave. There are so many waves. It really feels like those early crypto days. Now, of course, we're going to talk about the counter argument to this, because you always want to have counter arguments. Keep yourself grounded. Don't just ride on one side of the argument. But the counter argument to this is that NFTs are functioning like the last breath of the bull, right? This is the dying breath of the bull. That's the fear, right? The fear. And let me get to this tweet, because this is what I was going to read at the end. But I wanted to get to this. I'm already just stumbling into this. So let me see if I can find this. Yeah, here. Chris Berniski, and I don't know if I pronounced that right, but he says NFT volumes and prices in January 2022 have been strong. Many say this shows how everything in crypto may not crash simultaneously again. One could also say that NFTs are the furthest end of the risk, most illiquid, and also the last to pump with the euphoric gasps of a dying bull. So this is a very poetic way to say, hey, look, this could be the exit pump, right? Remember, we had alt season that ended the 2017 run, where we got that 2018 peak, right? And everyone got sucked into Tron at 30 cents. And then it ended, right? And we were all bag holding. So that's the fear, right? The fear is that this is that FOMO peak, and that, you know, crypto's dying, and this is its last act, because it's the easiest to pump these and all that stuff. So that is a real fear, right? That's a real fear. We don't know the answer to that question. Now, that's something that I want you guys to use to keep you grounded as you navigate NFTs, because the reality is this could be the quote blow off top that leaves everyone holding the bag. So rules of the road. And let me actually quickly save this file. Oops. Whoa. Let me quickly save this file. NFT rules of the road. And let me bring it up here. And I will put this on the, yes. Okay. So with that in mind, with the spirit of the fact that we know that there could be very much so things that do not jive with our bullish thesis, we want to always check our biases. And so I made this rules of the road kind of document. I didn't even spell check it. So like, you know, reserve the right to update this. But I wanted to say this. You need to understand that if you don't do some of these things, that's your choice. You don't have to do anything. I tend to diamond hand NFTs because I have the luxury of being able to take L's on if my whole portfolio went to zero, all of my NFTs went to literal zero, I'd be okay. I'd survive, right? So that's part of why I'm able to diamond hand. But for people who aren't, I want to advocate that if this money could materially affect your ability to survive and thrive, then some rules of the road are helpful. One, if you want to grow your dollar value, you need to be smart. Take profits on your winners. If you're up big, if you got into Creepz early, if you got into Azuki early, if you got into Doodles, if you got into any of these projects that have gone mega and done mega X's, you definitely want to be smart and sell some, because then you're staying liquid. Now, we're going to use this term a lot. When you go into an NFT, you become illiquid. You can't just automatically sell those, right? So when you're in the illiquid part of your portfolio, that is risky, because once liquidity dries up, it's not like you can just easily liquidate those assets. You might not be able to find a buyer, much less a buyer who's going to value your NFT the way it should. Maybe you have something rare. Maybe it's not a floor model of the NFT. So taking profits on winners and staying liquid is absolutely key. Now, for me, I was saying this a lot in the first run, which is that, hey, there's all this trash coming up. There's all these copycat projects trying to copy Bored Ape Yacht Club. So when the music stops and when the energy dies down, the projects that people are most likely not going to nuke down to Goblin Town and endlessly dump are going to be the ones of historical significance, or early movers, or the ones with the absolute strongest development and communities. And we know Bored Ape Yacht Club was leading that charge. Obviously, CryptoPunks had their thing, but I was saying repeatedly on this channel, Bored Apes are the ones that are rapidly evolving. And that's why we started covering them at under 1 Ethereum on the channel, because we saw the passion out of the community, the cultishness, the obsessiveness, the belief, the raw passion for this project. I was just under the belief that after a certain while, if the project started going down in value, the real believers would step in and start accumulating. And that's exactly what happened. So we're going to talk all about the Bored Ape bonanza, Bored Ape palooza that we're seeing right now, because it is a wonder to behold. It's an entirely new type of mainstream adoption for cryptocurrency that we've only seen come through this type of avenue. But when the markets overheat, right, when everything is selling out, everything is doing 10x overnight, you want to get liquid. We saw this in August. We saw this in October. And when it gets to NFT mania, and all of a sudden the people who are like your DeFi heads, the people who are your altcoin flippers, the people who are opportunistic, once it gets to that point, you want to get liquid, right? At least get liquid and have enough ETH, have enough stable coins or something that you are not completely overbalanced, right? And that's hard to do, right? It's hard to do. In fact, most NFT hardcores don't do this well. And that's when we'll talk about other catalysts and liquidity catalysts in a minute. But when markets overheat, the safe thing to do is to get liquid. Now, back in June, we didn't know that blue chips would survive. Now we do. Now we've seen the Bored Ape waves. We've seen the Bored Ape waves a few times now. So we know now that these super strong projects will have resilience and at very least maintain liquidity, if not, just maintain as opposed to dumping, right? So we know that the goal here is to consolidate into blue chips if you do want to belong the NFT space. So getting into a Bored Ape, I know it's super unattainable for most people. Getting into a Doodles, a CyberKong, a Cool Cats, one of those projects, we'll talk a lot about that. Neo Tokyo. There's a ton of projects that are blue chips that are some are more accessible than others, right? And we'll talk a little bit about what makes a blue chip, how you can identify those. Obviously, earlier is better, but just understanding what would make a durable NFT community. Those are the things that I want you thinking about. Now, as a warning, all of these JPEGs, even Bored Apes, even CryptoPunks, even one of the most famous artists like Beeple, in theory, could go down to zero. They're extremely risky, extremely bubbly, completely unproven as a store of value. And you need to understand that if you're going to treat it as a store of value, you need to be willing to understand that huge amount of risk, huge existential risk for JPEGs. You need to understand that. So please, as we proceed through this, heed these warnings, because you're not going to be able to go back in time and sell into strength. You're not going to be able to go back in time and manage your risk. You need to do this forward looking, right? So now that we've gotten this out of the way, please, this is not just in name only. Remember to manage your risk. Remember. And if you like art and you want to enjoy the ecosystem, this is another way to traverse the ecosystem. Buy what you want, hold it, and have fun. That's the way some people do it. I treat it more like building my exposure to the industry, and I want to be in the best projects. I feel like that's more the case of the way people try to approach this ecosystem. So if you're like that, I would say you want to definitely take profits on winners. And you want to manage your risk. Understand that there is a certain percentage of your portfolio that you're going to allocate to this, and be very meticulous, be disciplined, and not overextending your exposure to NFTs. It shouldn't make up your whole portfolio unless you believe with your whole heart and soul that this is the future of the internet. Now, I'm a true believer. I'm not going to enforce that on you. And I don't think that my beliefs are necessarily how you should trade. Cool. So more evidence of this NFT mania. So if you guys enjoy that, if you like these rules of the road, if you think they're helpful to understanding how you can navigate NFTs, please smash that like button, like the video. It's really helping get more people into this particular piece of content. And in these slow periods of the market, it helps me as a content creator continue to get my message out there. So I appreciate the likes a lot, tremendously, actually. So January is more or less over, $4.5 billion in NFT revenues or volumes. And if he's annualizing, that's $55 billion a year run rate. For reference, eBay did $90 to $100 billion in gross market value in 2021. 2022 will be about proving NFT volume durability, I think. So this is an interesting comparison here, essentially showing that NFTs are kind of becoming the new digital-only eBay and actually making a genuine challenge, a genuine run here at eBay's volumes, which are about $100 billion a year. In my opinion, it's destined to completely leapfrog over eBay's volumes. Again, NFTs as an industry although they've been around since, 2015, they weren't really an industry, weren't really a market until 2021. That's when things really picked up. So I consider things to be, this is year 2. This is the beginning of year, or if that was year 0, this is year 1, whatever you see it as. This is the beginning, right? So year over year, let's really compare and understand, because I believe that NFTs are going to be the biggest online industry of all time. I believe everything will be bought and sold as NFTs. I'm an NFT, I just believe in the future of these tokens and this technology. So that's how I interpret the market. So this to me is just the beginning. And of course, I'll tell you exactly why I see a lot of short-term catalysts at the end of the episode. Make sure you watch all the way through, because we're going to go through projects, and then we're also going to go through sort of midterm prognosis, midterm outlook. Short-term outlook is pretty clear that it's bullish. So we also have him talking about the lack of NFT purpose-built chains. He said he would have expected flow in particular to be way bigger last year at this time. It's still all on ETH L1 and OpenSea. Again, this is probably going to change in the future, but for now, most of it lives on ETH. The culture of NFT still lives on ETH, though the growth in Phantom Wallet usage and the growth of Solana and even burgeoning ecosystems. I keep hearing about Cardano NFTs. There will be other ecosystems, but for now, the big show is on ETH. The big competition's on ETH. We also need to be paying attention to Asia. Now, we know for a fact that culturally, the value in digital life was definitely spearheaded and led into a hyper-digitization by Asian countries, typically associated stereotypically with more advanced tech, with more digitized lifestyles in general, and value. There was, it's very common to send, emojis and other types of digital gifts to streamers and other things. That is very common. And so you would have thought that NFTs would make a splash immediately in Asia, but it took a while for this concept to truly catch on. It was actually more of a Western phenomenon up until recently. But now look at this, NFTs way outstripping crypto in Asia. And you can see here that the Asian region is far more interested in NFTs, whereas US and North America are still far more interested in crypto. This is a huge, huge trend, mega trend in my opinion, right? And NFTs filling this void of providing gains and excitement to the ecosystem during winter, crypto winter, where in 2018, there was nothing to do but lose money. There was nothing to do but watch your coins drop in value. So this activity of having something to do, having a reason to stay engaged, having a reason to check Twitter, to watch YouTube videos like we're doing right now, this is actually a major, major, major force in stimulating crypto and really fighting against a nuclear winter like we have experienced before. So this is what I was saying a bunch of times. Obviously, if you guys have been following the channel, all throughout the Q4 period, I was saying, hey, look, I want to take profits so I can grab NFTs in 2022 and ride that wave, because I believe NFT winter, I was using the term winter wonderland, is coming, and it really feels like winter wonderland. It's literally winter. We have crypto in a winterish place, altcoins at least, and Bitcoin, and now NFTs are booming. It's kind of like there's, if this is the way the market works, that there's just this interplay between altcoins and NFTs. It's super, super exciting, because that means that we won't be left without something to do here in crypto land, which means the community can keep growing. More users equals more value. And we'll talk a lot about that concept throughout this episode. OpenSea has now surpassed UniSwap as the number one most used product on Ethereum, trading pictures over trading coins. And again, we can speak to the psychology over how much more enjoyable it is to trade pictures versus to trade, complex financial instruments or tokens, faceless tokens. We'll talk about that stuff at the end, but this is just all data points I want you to have sinking in. Now, this week of all weeks, we had Justin Bieber spending $1.3 million on a floor ape, which was actually only worth maybe $300K. So he overpaid by about 5x or 4x on this Bored Ape. And a lot of people were immediately memeing it. We had G Money saying, next time you're down bad, just remember that Justin Bieber bought a floor ape for 500 ETH. And then we have people following up and showing, okay, well, who's actually used MoonPay, which is like the fiat on-ramp that a lot of these celebrities are buying their Bored Apes with. We have Diplo, Little Baby, Martin Garrix, DJ Khaled, Eva Longoria, Meek Mill, Gwyneth Paltrow, Paris Hilton, Jimmy Fallon, Post Malone, Kevin Hart, and Snoop Dogg. Now, this strategy of putting iconic celebrities into an NFT collection and then them wearing them on social media is having a huge, huge effect on pricing and valuations. And this is something where this is the first time ever that celebrities, brands, and mainstream influencers have had the ability to materially improve the value proposition of a crypto project. So before, like in 2018 or 2017, there were famous, quote, top signals of Katy Perry with her crypto nails, Dan Bilzerian, Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled promoting ICOs. These were considered top signals because what do they know about crypto, about the technology? And that was leading to essentially adverse or negative things being associated with celebrities jumping in and supporting. What a turn of events now that we have NFTs, which are not trying to be anything that they're not. They are simply scarce collector's items online. Of course, we know that there is a robust culture and projects built on top of these. But the reality is that now, for the first time ever, NFTs have accomplished something that all of crypto has failed to do pretty much repeatedly since its inception, which is cross the chasm into mainstream culture. Mainstream culture is something that it's a term that gets bantered around a lot, mainstream culture. But the reality is that the value of mainstream culture is about to get a whole new coat of paint. We've never seen the value of mainstream culture before. We see it tangentially through sneakers, through luxury designer brands, through essentially, music and film. But to be honest, music is wildly mispriced. I've actually been talking to a ton of musicians about music NFTs. One of the major trends I've called for 2022 is music NFTs. And that's because there's a mispricing of culture globally. And what we're seeing for the first time ever is that NFTs plus celebrities equals more value. Not always, because some of these celebrities are doing cash grabs, but if they come in and support things like World of Women, like Reese Witherspoon, or like Doodles with Steve Aoki, or Bored Ape Yacht Club with all these other celebrities and rappers, it is adding that value. It's making it more desirable, and it's making the values increase. Whereas, Kim Kardashian promoting Ethereum Max is like red flag, red flag, red flag, of course, like pump and dump scam. But NFTs plus meaningful, thoughtful celebrity additions is actually causing a ton of excitement. And so you're seeing for the first time an industry where the traditional marketing funnels, remember, how are things marketed in normal life? Celebrities, spokespeople, influencers, paid marketing, product placements. That's what runs the normal world of marketing. If I'm selling, dishwasher soap or fluid, right? I want Martha Stewart up there, like wiping the dish, like, come on, this is the best. So that's not available to normal crypto. I can't advertise Ethereum through Martha Stewart. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, it's counterproductive. Whereas now, for the first time, NFTs are benefiting from this. So what did we see? What did we see with Bored Ape Yacht Club? I'm gonna go ahead and just show you. What we've seen is that we had an astronomical effect from this. This was no small amount of influence here. As Travis Barker and Eminem and Dave Chappelle and all of these big celebrities got involved. And am I still coming in? Am I still coming in loud and clear? Because this page is, maybe it's just an OpenSea thing. Okay. And as we're talking, the floor has grown on Bored Apes. But yeah, this is just an OpenSea loading issue. So check this out. What we see is that over the last year, we've had several waves of this. But what we see is right here, we had this huge consolidation period after the big pumps of the summer. We had the first wave for Bored Apes here in June, right? We actually had the first waves here in May, but then we had the next wave in June, settled down. Another big wave here in August, then a mega wave here as we're coming into the Mutant Ape Yacht Club drop, right? Then we get a huge consolidation and reduction of value until it reaches a bottom and then perks up here. Now, for NFTs, at this point, it's safe to say that Bored Ape is the leader and is the bat signal about the health of the industry. So, and I personally agree with this a tremendous amount. And so where was this? Where is this? So right when this was happening, and by the way, as you guys know, I'm a huge Mutant Ape fan and holder. I'm a big Bored Ape holder as well. But right as that happened and alt season was rampaging in November, I was saying, hey, look, for the last few, and this was here, you can check the tape, November 13th. I've been saying for the last few weeks that NFTs look and feel bottomed. Mutant Ape Yacht Club up to 5 ETH floor is highly encouraging. When gas fees drop and alts stop moving, it's on. So it's not like this stuff comes out of nowhere. If you're really following the evolution of the industry, you can predict this stuff. You can absolutely predict this stuff. Oh gosh, you guys are spamming the channel. I hate it. Sorry guys. Sorry. Get rid of the spammers. Get rid of the spammers. Okay. All right. We're getting rid of these spammers. We're getting rid of them. Ooh, no, I unhit someone. No, I want to hide them again. I'm trying. I'm getting them. All right. Stop saying Creepz BJ. Like, stop it. That's so weird. That's so strange. That's so strange. What's wrong with you people? Like, what is wrong? Lots of creeps spam, creep spam. Okay, I think we're all right. I will SuperFarm update, please. I will give you that. Let me get through the programming and I will give you that. Okay. Okay, we got 30 minutes here. Let's do this. Okay, so going back, when this happened, and I'll go to actually Mutant Ape Yacht Club because that is one of the major projects that has delivered insane gains, and it was one of those that you could have expected to come back at some point, right? Because of the power of Bored Apes, which is the tier 1 membership into this club. The Mutant Ape Yacht Club was something that you should be watching, right? I covered it heavily during this first period here. Now, right here, you can see it. This is a perfect example of what you can see with the top collections and what made me want to start paying attention. So I tweeted right after this. You see this major decline of Mutant Ape Yacht Club to the point where the floor is trading at like 3 ETH, almost down to like the mint price, which was 2.8. So you saw floor skyrocket out on the hype, trading over 10 ETH on average across the whole collection. And then over the next few weeks, month or two, you saw this thing come down dramatically. Then what do we see? Boom, life comes back. Life comes back right here on November. And you can see November 13th is where I tweeted. This was actually, if you look at it, there was only really one major day of volume. And then I tweeted. If you're following this space, you can see these things coming. So what did this signal to me? This signaled to me that a bottom point had been hit, that a point at which people, supply had been soaked up by the people who believed in the project, and that new buyers were going to start having to buy higher and higher. Boom, you get a breakout on price. And so this is pretty simple logic. You had a huge distribution period, then accumulation, now breakout. And then it took a while, but as soon as the alt really came down and we reached stability on Ethereum, which is a huge major key for NFTs. Once we get stable ETH, with lower gas fees, we get this, especially when alts are boring, especially when there's not a lot of gains to be had in alts. Somebody says it looks like is Looks running because of NFTs or because of BTC? Looks is running because of NFTs. We'll talk about Looks Rare again at the end of the episode. But Looks is the first OpenSea competitor where the users can share in the fees, which is super exciting. It's also triggered a different set of interesting reactions. But you could see here, just to return, that this pump in November after this big distribution period was the signal that I felt a bottom had been hit. And so I tweeted that. Where is it? Where did I tweet it? I've lost this tweet. There's so many tabs. Why did I have this many tabs? Yeah. So then I tweeted right here on the 13th, look, this pump from 3 to 5 is something you need to be paying attention to. It's clear that the stage is set now for another wave. Now, people could say, oh, no one could have predicted this NFT wave. Well, yes, you could have. Yes, you could have if you're paying attention. Does this mean that NFTs are perfect and they're always going to go up? No, don't get ahead of yourself. Remember the warnings. Remember the warnings and the disclosures here. Okay. We're also seeing things like this regularly now, which is I've seen several $1 million purchases of apes recently. First ape to sell for 4 digits ETH as well. And that's because ETH has come down a bit. But this is an absolute insane set of news. You're having celebrities pour in, you're having more and more record numbers of sales, and you're having, in my opinion, the first time where altcoins are not really posing a risk of rugging the situation. This is the truth. As much as NFTs can be extremely risky, they can also be extremely advantageous. I know a lot of the people who, quote, made it in crypto over the last 12 plus months did it with NFTs. And of course, punks aren't dead. They're getting swept as well. So as these things happen, the big collections will do well. It's not just apes that are doing well. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I already talked about this, but this is the big worry is that, is this just like the exit pump of the market, or is this a really genuine beginning to NFTs creating their own market structure? Because if NFTs keep this up, and I'll tell you why at the end that I think they can, then this could be the decoupling we've been waiting for. This could be the part of the market that says, forget you, Bitcoin. We don't need you. We're going to just go and continue to grow and add users, and we're going to do our thing. So this is super, super bullish if that's the case. To go back into this, I wanted to talk yet another analyst here, Mippo, is saying the three corners or the three parts of crypto that emerged in 2021 as part of the 2021 bubble gives us clues, if not a roadmap, based on past performance. So he does take a second here to acknowledge that NFTs crossed over into mainstream culture. This is something that normal crypto has never done before. And you see here Jay-Z with a CryptoPunk as his avatar. Now, NFTs have captured the imagination of non-libertarian finance nerds. This is big because libertarian finance nerds are not the majority, right? We need this stuff to be used by people. More users, more value, remember. So the question is, where do we go from here? He has a really nice breakdown, but he says essentially ICOs give us a bit of a roadmap. To drastically oversimplify, 98% will fail. The mechanism of innovation will be improved upon. The surviving 2% will exceed even the wildest expectations, and a new wave of projects will copy the 2%. This is what I see happening. I think it's already happened to a large degree, where you're seeing a lot of, like no utility JPEGs kind of going down. You're seeing more roadmap-based JPEGs going up. You're seeing DAO-based JPEGs doing well. You're seeing the refinement of what it means to own these. And the 2% have already started to identify themselves tremendously. And we'll talk about those today, because for another dose of confidence, what's pumping right now in NFTs is good stuff. It's like the top projects are pumping. And so it's not like you have a whole bunch of garbage, like everything's pumping right now. No, a lot of the lower quality projects aren't moving, but a lot of the top projects are moving, which is more value going into the quality, which is what you like to see. That's like Bitcoin and ETH growing as opposed to, a super low cap page 7 altcoin growing. As we see, the predictions here are that we're going to see $1 billion in virtual real estate this year. I certainly believe this is an obvious trend. We're very long the Metaverse trend here at EllioTrades. But I think that this is something that people will continue to underestimate. This guy, Mippo, had a really nice summary where he said, where is this? He says, the Metaverse, Ready Player One. When I see corporates piling into the Metaverse bandwagons, I think two things. This narrative is 100% dead for at least a year. And two, this will absolutely 100% be a thing in the future. I don't agree that it's 100% dead for a year. I think that the long everything with Metaverse in the name moment passed. That was the Facebook moment where nobody knew what anything was. They're just throwing money at Metaverse related stuff. That moment came and went. We explained it as it was happening. Axie popped off. Facebook changed their name. All of this is just FOMO around those two events. So understanding that if you took profits on the way up, you're chilling, but we never expected this to be the big Metaverse wave. This was just when people literally learned the term Metaverse. That was like a dictionary change. That was what happened, and then FOMO. So I don't believe it's dead for a year, but I think like the blind aping into Metaverse will be dead for a minute. Now, does this mean that NFTs within the Metaverse, like virtual real estate or in-game assets, will be dead for a year? I don't think that at all. In fact, I think you see a lot of evidence to the contrary on that, showing the GameFi ecosystems like DeFi kingdoms, like Treasure DAO with Magic. Those types of items are making crazy revenue and gains, and they're creating very, very fertile ecosystems. So it will 100% be a thing in the future. The Metaverse pump is on pause. And I think that this is really the opportunity for you to take stock and try to identify projects that are going to be good. To be honest, invest in a lot of things now. I'm investing in most games that have decent looking game trailers, decent looking games. I'm just investing because I don't know. I don't know which ones it'll be. And I just want to spray on this particular example. Now, what the science of evaluating the games and their likelihood to succeed is something I'm very excited about. And that's something that Neo Tokyo is very excited about, and something I see that DAO will be very, very good at helping refine that process of evaluating in-game economies for sustainability, evaluating overall go-to-market plans, quality of gameplay. Those are the things I want to see really taken and run with groups like Neo Tokyo. I'm going to turn on my fan 1 second. So, I'm going to invest in a lot of things. Some might win, some might lose, but I know that the winners are going to way dramatically, ridiculously, egregiously outpace the losers, which is why the risk reward ratio makes total sense to me. So yeah. So anyway, I think that this is an interesting tweet. I don't agree 100% dead for a year. I think that it's the metaverse coins are not just going to pump blindly for a year, but accumulating essentially during this year is what I see as a huge opportunity. So which NFTs are pumping like wildfire? Well, you can't mention an insanely successful collection of January without talking about Azuki. Azuki launched and minted at 1 ETH, sold instantly 10,000 items or 8,700 items. Oh, I guess it's 10K. I thought it was 8,700 that they minted. Maybe they withheld the 1,300 for something else. But anyway, just call it 10K items all at 1 ETH, and then they just exploded here. Now trading at an average price today of 18.7 Ethereum, almost 19x on average, almost 19x on average from the mint price. And this was from the 11th to the 31st, 19x. And that's a big entry, 1 ETH, right? So to me, this is a major bullish sign, right? To see a project have this much excitement. And whether I need to see some data on where the collectors are. But essentially people are saying that this has a lot to do with with Suzu and this piece of data that NFTs are absolutely rampaging in Asia. Now, Azuki is obviously an anime inspired project. And so, a lot of people are seeing anime as a major avenue here. Now, I will say I didn't jump onto Azuki because I've seen some of these anime projects like pump really hard and then dump super hard. The biggest example of this was On One Force. And so I have a little bit of PTSD from On One because look at this. Look at this chart. We saw On One do this. Like the first 2 days, it just went within the first week, it went insane X's. I think it minted for 0.08 or 0.08. Yeah, I think it was 0.08. And within a few weeks, it was at 8.8. So 100x, right? It 100x and then just down only, right? Down only. So I had super PTSD from On One, and I was kind of confused. I was kind of saying to people in the chats, tell me why Azuki isn't just, another On One Force. And I get it. The art's different, the project's different and all that stuff, but that was why I wasn't fully convinced. But seeing Azuki's growth, you got to give it to them. They're crushing it. And it starts to feel like this community, in this kind of growth. I don't know if it's sustainable. I don't know if it's a blue chip. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying it's absolutely incredible what's going on with Azuki. And this is a sign that things are really heating up, that liquidity's here, traders are there, people are here to support and push projects to new heights. So seeing what Azuki's accomplished with 86,000 ETH traded makes it one of the highest traded collections of all time on OpenSea in just a few weeks. So it's kind of like tokens that launch in mid to late 2021 reach these astronomical market caps that weren't even fathomable in the last run. That's what it feels like now in this new run for NFTs, where the values of assets are reaching new and astronomical new heights. So super exciting, right? Super exciting. Azuki also seems like a high quality project, so I'm not taking anything away. It's definitely not low effort. But now we have a sea of other sort of anime inspired projects coming. So Kira, we have Souls, we have Muri, we have Lies of Asuna, we have Suki. And so it becomes one of those things where it's like, hey, maybe this is a wave that you can kind of ride on. Maybe Azuki is going to cause pumps in these other anime inspired projects. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you frameworks that I'm using to analyze this very, very new trend of NFTs. But it's worth noting that you don't necessarily need to FOMO in to something that's just gone 15x. In fact, it's very inadvisable to do that, especially if you're just starting out. Better to learn the way the market's working, learn the ebbs and flows of the market, and then try to predict and use predictive logic to try to find things early. That's always the best approach. You can't talk about blue chip success, though, without talking about CloneX, which is, of course, you guys have seen these avatars everywhere. CloneX got acquired by Nike right after doing this drop. You can see there are these little action figures, very streetwear inspired with really cool art. Also, I would put as a 3D anime project, very, very, anime inspired. And they also have art with Takashi Murakami, who is easily, one of my favorite artists, one of everyone's favorite artists. I think he's just so cool. So CloneX went on this absolutely massive rampage. As you can see, they were trading, as low as I think 5 ETH floor. I think they were trading as low as a 5 ETH floor here. Yeah, you can see average price was 5. So floor was probably 5 or lower. and then just explosive growth here. Of course, they announced the Nike partnership here, which drove the sales way up. But when you see these huge collections, this has almost 20,000 items. So think of it as twice as big as other collections. You can think of like total supply as twice as big. So market cap actually puts this at about 35 Ethereum if you're going to compare it to like a Bored Ape, right? So 35 Ethereum would make this one of the most elite collections in the history of NFTs. And certainly CloneX is showing that it is very, very, very blue chip, getting purchased by Nike. It's like the Nike of NFTs. So if you're going to consolidate into something, you have the ability to, CloneX was definitely one of those that I should have caught more of for sure. I'm not perfect, right? I'm certainly no oracle with the JPEGs, but I do know how to follow trends. And right now it's very clear that CloneX and whatever they touch is going to be very interesting, but very specifically these CloneX Artifact got bought by Nike. I keep calling it CloneX. Artifact is the parent company. Now, once again, Mutant Ape Yacht Club. This is one that I expect to continue to do well because you have Bored Apes being essentially the most desired NFT. Mutant Apes is like the cheap way in. It's like the deluxe, the economy version, right? So Mutant Apes are going to be seen as a cheap way to get into the Bored Ape family. I think the Bored Ape Kennel Club isn't really looked at that way. They do have the Kennel Club, which was the dogs they dropped. I just don't think the market or people really identify with the Kennel Club the same way they do the Mutants. Mutants feel like part of the same DNA as Bored Apes, whereas the Kennel Club doesn't quite feel that way. Although there is a narrative that it's going to do really well. And I certainly believe people who are buying the Kennel Club at 2, 3, 4 ETH a few months ago, they're smart, they're big brain. But I do think that Mutants, MAYC, is the people's Bored Apes, right? And at 24 ETH, it's not really that anymore. But these came down, remember, into just a couple of ETH a few months ago, right? So there was plenty of time to accumulate. And we're about to have Coinbase NFT. Coinbase NFT is going to essentially entangle millions and millions of normies into this JPEG FOMO. And they're going to look for ways to get into, quote, blue chips or perceived high quality projects at a discount. So things like CyberKong's Babies or VX, things like Mutant Ape Yacht Club, things like, I'll come up with more examples. I'm blanking right now. And same with Doodles, right? Doodles had this amazing launch where they immediately hit like 1 Ethereum, which is a lot, right? For like a day one project. It was trading at like 0.8 floor and over 1 ETH average price very early. And then as soon as the market returned to health, if they're getting all these pumps while the market was, quote, dead, right? NFT bear, that's a good sign as well. Projects that do super well in bear markets are likely to do well in bull markets when there's like mass liquidity entering. So you definitely love to see things that perform well in down markets. Doodles was that. So what did we learn? Next NFT bear market, if there's really strong projects that perform really well, like Doodles right off the rip, and artistically, we all know that, Doodles has been super influential. Its simplistic, iconic style has been mimicked and copied and it pretty much influenced a whole new generation of NFT art. So when you see that and you see something like a Doodles being that influential, it's definitely a sign. And the signs were all there to start accumulating Doodles way early. This one just got bought by Pranksy, I think, for a wild, for 250 and relisted at 1,500. So we'll see. I think this is one of the rarest Doodles in the whole collection. But again, Doodles is another example of a super strong project that clearly showed strength during the dip and is now having wild gains once the market has returned to strength. So I want to kind of get back to the rules of the road here, right? Which is if you want to do well here, you need to start observing all of these trends. The point of this episode is not to FOMO you into stuff. The point of this episode is to give you a playbook, a framework to understand why something like Doodles did well versus something else, to understand why Mutant Ape Yacht Club is doing well, why Bored Ape is doing well, what it means, why Azuki did well, helping you contextualize and hopefully look ahead, look around the corners, and be early or be confident in your moves that you're going to make in JPEG land. Again, knowing and understanding that this stuff is super risky. Okay. Finally, we talked about Creepz a while back. Now, we were talking about it. It was like it hit 7 ETH and it was quite a FOMO peak there. So just understand that. But Creepz was just excellent gamification, fun art, Rick and Morty style, and just really good game theory. Again, I consider this a gamified, sort of utility gamified NFT, not so much a PFP, but it does have a PFP element, but it's really the gamification that made this special. I think that combining elements of what Creepz has with elements of what Bored Apes and all of these really, really killer art projects or PFP projects did is really, really epic. And those are the sort of metas that I'm looking forward to for 2022. Seeing gamification enter into this raw collectible NFT space is going to be a huge, huge change. So Creepz is one. I'm not saying to buy Creepz. It feels like it's definitely made quite a bit of its first move. But this is something that I think you can start seeing in other projects, learning about why Creepz was successful, how they had the Creepz yielding Lumi, and then Lumi was helping you mint the next asset, and then the next assets gain value. And so it created like a ton of nice gamification where people were really excited to earn and grow their exposure to this ecosystem through their genesis. So gamification is key. And what I'd love to see, if I'm just going to be straight up, what I'd love to see is the whole idea behind Creepz start to be applied towards video game assets. The whole mentality around the collection being applied towards video game assets, combining the magic of collectibles with video games, but also having always items at, essentially at a reasonable price point. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Once again, CyberKongz VX has done really well over the last few weeks, about tripling. These are all signs that these really well-rooted projects. And by the way, if you guys don't know, I've been a CyberKongz OG for a while. You can see I have my Rug Radio Kongs. This is actually my Kong that Farouk used for Rug Radio. Check out Rug Radio, by the way. Also a really sick project. Definitely want to keep your eyes on Rug Radio. Shout out to Farouk for starting that. And yeah, as we go down the top NFTs over the last 30 days, you can see Azuki has just been crushing it. Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, CloneX, CryptoPunks, Doodles. Phantom Bear had this crazy pump. I'm not sure where it stands price-wise. World of Women, it's just been absolutely fantastic for these top projects. And this is really exciting. So let's talk about like how this goes forward, because we now know that things are going crazy. We know that there's a lot of excitement and growth. But the question is sort of like, what happens next? Now, I do think we end up with euphoria in JPEGs in February. It's going that way. It's just their gains are crazy. YouTubers are making videos. Those evil YouTubers are making videos about NFTs again. And it's going to create a bunch of new entries into the market. And I want you guys to understand that while without these other catalysts, I'd be a little bit more worried. So I'm of two minds. My careful mind says we're going to get, euphoria in February, and it'll probably be followed by a crash. The euphoria is usually followed by a crash. It feels like NFTs are getting very, very euphoric. The gains are crazy. The amount of growth is crazy. So logic would say that we probably have some kind of, everything goes up aggressively in a parabola in February, and then we get a March crash. That would be like the base case. But we also have these things coming up that are very, very strong fundamental changes to the ecosystem. We have ApeCoin coming to all Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, Bored Ape Kennel Club, Bored Ape Chemistry Club, I can't say that, holders. So anyone who's exposed to Bored Ape Yacht Club is probably going to get some of this ApeCoin. ApeCoin, based on the success of BAYC, is probably going to become a top 30 coin. This means that we'll have sustainable, ongoing liquidity, most likely, for the biggest collectors in the space, the people who are driving these volumes, who have supported and lifted Bored Ape to incredible historic heights. They're going to get dumped on with liquidity. Thank you, Bored Ape gods. I'm waiting. I'm ready. Now, that's going to essentially be free money to all JPEG traders. That's good. That's really good for all JPEGs. It's a bunch of free money entering the ecosystem. Then we also have the OpenSea vampire attacks. These OpenSea vampire attacks, most famously, Looks Rare, have been really successful. Well, Looks Rare is the only one we have so far. Obviously, I'm working on one, so I know at least one more is coming. And I believe that there's probably a lot of these coming that are going to see airdropping to OpenSea users as a very, very viable and extremely smart way to get the word out to the NFT community. I mean, simple, right? You just airdrop to everybody, and instantly that day, your project is the center focus of the NFT space. Imagine that. It's just a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing that we can almost guarantee. In fact, I'd stake my whole name and reputation on the fact that this is going to continue to happen over and over and over again. Now, will each one of these be successful and create an insane amount of liquidity like LooksRare has? No. But will some? Yes. And that is where the magic is. Even if it's just a few $1,000s per person, that is still a significant amount of liquidity, right? So when this happens, when these two things start, continue to sort of interweave here, we'll see asset appreciation. Asset appreciation attracts more users, which usually creates more asset appreciation. So this is the bull case, right? Obviously, I want to be very, very, very clear and aware that there is a bear case. Here's the bear case, that NFTs are the furthest end of the risk, most illiquid, and the last to pump with the euphoric gasps of a dying bull. And here's the bull case, that this is actually, that there was a lot of fundamental liquidity events coming up for JPEG traders. So these are the two forces that I'm trying to balance out. Again, you never know. The easiest way to do it is to take profits on winners, consolidate into blue chips if you want to keep more long-term positions, and when the markets overheat, get liquid. These are simple rules that you can apply without knowing the future, which none of us do. So short to midterm, this is my bull case. Obviously, short to midterm, this is the bear case. Rules of the road, I encourage you to digest these and try to use them in your daily lives. Okay, again, not financial advice, just my strategies. Please, please, please take responsibility over your own actions and your own financial future. It's very, very important. Now, of course, a project that I feel very strongly about that I founded called NeoTokyo. We see Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Stephen Curry, Shaq, Steve Aoki, DJ Khaled, and Post Malone, the Chainsmokers, Jimmy Fallon, M-Cube, and all in BAYC. And we're seeing that thought leaders of their industries are really important for NFT projects. And as this Twitter personality, Mark Stoller, says, if anything's going to keep the NFTs club alive, it's this. And now NeoTokyo is as big as BAYC without anyone in it. I don't know if it's as big yet. It's definitely not by size of community or by market cap, but it's definitely very, very impressive. And we saw today the first incredible thought leader that I think is a perfect fit for NeoTokyo join today in Faze Banks. Now, Faze Clan, if you guys don't know what Faze Clan is, Faze Clan, where is it? Where's Faze Clan? I thought I had a tab for that. Faze Clan is essentially the biggest group of streamers and esports teams in the entire gaming space. This is like the cool kids of gaming, right? They have all the best Fortnite players. They have all the best league players. They have everybody. They have a Faze team, an esports team, and these streamers are mega, mega influential. So the mission of NeoTokyo is to build the metaverse. And so especially starting with crypto gaming. So getting thought leaders of the gaming industry, first was Yatsu and Animoca. Now we have Faze Clan and its founder Banks. And the mission is starting to be reflected in these important holders coming into the project. Now, what's also happening on the ground level is some really interesting value being created within the DAO of people who are experts and obsessives about crypto gaming and how to make projects better, how to find quality projects, how to make projects improve. And these are the toolkit that people like Banks, who's very, very fixated on building the metaverse, that's what attracted him, is he wants to rely and use the NeoTokyo resources to help grow and build better. And that is the ultimate realization to me of a great DAO. And that's what makes the mission of NeoTokyo distinct from these other projects and very, very, sort of unique in the space. So it's very, like, to me, this is one of the most exciting things I've seen is Banks joining NeoTokyo. And so we're super, super stoked to have him in there. If you're in NeoTokyo, go ahead and shout out. You can chat with Banks up in the Discord. Now, I also wanted to talk about this. Let's talk about SuperFarm for a second. Now, somebody's saying, is SuperFarm done? Because I was celebrating Banks coming in as the head of Faze Clan coming into the NeoTokyo. Now, I want to be clear. Faze Clan is not officially associated with NeoTokyo. This is just Banks. But, NeoTokyo as a DAO is an experiment. And the goal was to create this group of people who were obsessed with supporting and pushing the most important metaverse projects, identifying them, improving them. It's like an army of supporters, investors, iterators, tokenomics experts, research experts. It's like a base layer for any metaverse project. Now, SuperFarm has a video game and a decentralized NFT exchange coming. These are metaverse projects. They're perfectly synergized. They do not compete. And in fact, SuperFarm is where I spend, 90+% of my time, right? Working on that project. So Neo Tokyo, the point of setting up this experiment was to attract the brilliant minds that would push the value. It's not about me constantly spoon feeding Neo Tokyo's value. It's about the community being so unique and strong based on the tests to get in that it creates its own value. And that's what's so beautiful about what's happening in Neo Tokyo. Now, SuperFarm, on the other hand, is looking to create very robust technologies that require, essentially a totally different set, of activities and mechanisms. So they are so different and they are so synergistic. And I just wanted to address this, that like Neo Tokyo is less than 10% of my time at most. And SuperFarm is essentially my obsession, right? This is just my obsession. This is what I spent all my time on. And so I just want to get that out of the way. Now, speaking of SuperFarm, we have just gotten what I feel like is the first semifinal, like a draft of the teaser that I'm very happy with, that I think shows the energy of the Imposters game very well. So you'll be seeing the beginning of the Imposters rollout here in days, not months, not weeks, well, a little over a week, but it's going to be very exciting. And so I'm very, very happy with where the project's at right now, and pretty much something I've been working towards for years now is about to materialize. So I understand for SuperFarm fans, seeing Neo Tokyo's path might be a little bit like, well, what's going on? What's he focused on? The reality is that Neo Tokyo is just this incredibly successful experiment that is absolutely like electrifying, but also the amount of time that it took to form Neo Tokyo and work on it is so much less than what the technology that's coming out of SuperFarm requires. So very different endeavors. And, the reality is that 90+% of my time is spent on SuperFarm. So I just want to be very, very clear about that. The two projects are extremely, extremely synergistic. They make each other better, right? That is just the reality. Same with EllioTrades and SuperFarm and Neo Tokyo. They all are like beautifully synergized, right? And that's what I love about it. I do not have time to waste effort. I do not have time for it. So everything needs to work and make the other stronger, each pillar. And I'm really excited about that. So, gosh, I feel like we've gone through literally everything. I want to hop back in. Obviously, little bit of green in the market today. I'm not getting overly excited about it. I want us to stay focused on NFTs because I think it's super, super important to do. And now, people want to talk about Apes R Us. Yeah, Apes R Us. Let's talk about it. So Apes R Us. This is one of the projects that did come through the SuperFarm ecosystem. The artist Katoon came to SuperFarm a few months back and really had some just like incredible work that this artist has done. They have a Sotheby's auction going up. They've done art for Dua Lipa, Chris Brown, a bunch of mainstream entities, huge brands. They are the most famous street artist in Malaysia, and they had this crazy project that they with this art. And yeah, SuperFarm essentially lended some technical support here, helped them create the project and launch it. But the art and the design and the direction is 100% from Katoon. So shout out to Katoon. It really resonated with a lot of people. I saw a lot of the NFT community loved the art. And so this one kind of went on a little bit of a heater. And I'm very, very happy to see a successful project that SuperFarm was able to help grow. Again, I'm holding, I think I have like 41 or 42 of these. I've given out a couple to buddies. But this is a huge, huge project here that is coming, in my opinion, is one of the most important projects that SuperFarm has gotten the chance to work on. And really, SuperFarm is a tech platform. So it's going to be helping various creators in various ways through marketplace functionality. But also there's a couple other projects that SuperFarm has been adding technical support for that are really interesting. And so you'll be hearing about those too. Big shout out to Apes R Us. I'm diamond handing. I ain't selling. But at the same time, I don't know the direction of projects. I can't predict prices or anything like that. It's just exciting to see Katoon, who's a really nice guy and a great artist, have a success in this market. So definitely check out Apes R Us. And SuperFarm has other cool artists coming through the funnel as well. One of which that's going to be happening this month that I think is truly, truly special. Truly, truly special. Actually, I can just tell you the lead animator of The Simpsons has a full animated pilot that they'll be showing. It's really, 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 really heartwarming. Somebody says, will there be a season 3 of Citizens? No, there's no plans for season 3. There will be other aspects of the ecosystem that arise, but there will not be a season 3. Just leave up this this on one force just for the culture. What do I think of Journey Club? I'm a big fan of Tony, big friend of Tony, and I'm always wishing him and his community very, very well. I need to check in on what they're up to over the last few days. Stop saying giveaway, bro. Like, why does everyone need to spam? Will SuperFarm get whitelist? So certain NFTs will get whitelist for imposters. Certain NFTs will get whitelist for the Simpsons project. Yeah, that was the utility originally for the SuperFarm Genesis NFTs, was the whitelist functionality. And then we also grouped in EllioTrades because they are, you know, the same community pretty much. EllioTrades and SuperFarm share a lot of community. But yeah, so and it's up to the artists, it's up to the projects who they decide to let on the whitelist. A lot of projects just want the Neo Tokyo citizens on the whitelist. Alrighty, who else got questions? Who else has got questions? I feel like we've had an amazing stream today. All right, I just realized I'm 5 minutes late for my 2:30 meeting. I absolutely love you all. I think you guys are just fantastic. I want to say again, you know, it's just crazy to be making history. You know, NFTs are like the atomic particle, like the base layer, the God particle of the metaverse, right? This is what binds everything together, the stuff of the metaverse, right? It's just incredible to see this industry grow, super bubbly and risky, but you can't help but really get the feeling that something unique, historical, and new is happening that is going to impact a lot of people. And is it going to be all just good and up? Is it all just going to be euphoric? Is it all just going to be bad? It's going to be up, down, sideways, left, right, and backwards. It's going to be everything. And there's a bit of beauty in the chaos here of knowing that this is history that's happening. This is a transition to a digitization of our lives. This is going from physical world to the digital world. And that transition is one filled with opportunities, also pitfalls, but so many opportunities. It's crazy. You know, I guess personally, I'll share with you that I've gotten completely wrecked in crypto so many times, but because it's so fast changing and because the upside on things that do well is so big, it really creates an opportunity to always kind of get back on the horse and get back. And so I think that right now what you're seeing from NFTs is, you know, people who spent 1 ETH on Azuki are now sitting on 15 ETH. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So you could always, you know, at least JPEGs are showing, crypto's showing that it is still the land of generosity and there's always another opportunity as long as you survive, as long as you just keep surviving in this industry. So that's rule number 1, is surviving is thriving. I hope you guys are enjoying this wild journey. If you are, and you liked this video, you liked the breakdown of rules of the road, of forces, of bull case, bear case, trending projects, different signals that we look to identify the breakouts on volume, then all we ask is that you hit that like button. It's a really, really easy way to show you support the content and the channel. And truly, truly, I appreciate it. So big love from me. I hope you guys are having a great day. Wherever you are, you can find me on Twitter at EllioTrades. Link is in the description, and I will see you very soon on the next episode. Goodbye.